you can do a bit of color correcting beforehand. So it's unfortunate because they're not cruelty free yet, but one of my
Thank you, Star Treasure.
One of my favorite products for color correcting is actually from Makeup Forever. It is their base makeup, and they have it in just like a hydrating clear one, and they also have it in a yellow, an orange, a green, and I think like a pinkish one that I never use. So I think we're for like the basic color correcting. I think we're done on this side. If you like if you turn, so you can see there's still like a little bit of,
Just get that ring light away from my face.
especially here, there's a little bit of redness coming through here, but the foundation will be enough to cover it, and then you can always like go back. Color correcting. So color correcting. Oh my god. A lot of people should I wait like 10 minutes before we actually get into color correcting?
You can do if you want, yeah.
So we get to the front page.
Yeah. Guys, in 10 mins, 13 mins, we should be on the front page. So I'll need you all to be really, really super, super, super supportive and super kind, if that's okay. And show people that there's definitely a place on Twitch to run a makeup masterclass. I hope that's okay. Thank you all for turning out, by the way. There's a lot of you. I was very
There is
surprised.
a lot of you. There is.
Alina's like, why is Elise gonna make me broke today?
Oh, no. So sorry, Alina. The thing is, I don't actually have those. Otherwise, I would have showed you like what it looks like. Here. Do I have the basic one? I think I have one. It looks like this. It's called Step 1. No, this is not gonna. Is it green also? No, it's not. Okay. It's called. Is it gonna focus? Makeup Forever. Okay, it's written Step 1 somewhere on there, and that's the one that I like to use. This one is hydrating. I don't find it very useful, but the colorful ones. The what?
Don't worry, Karen.
Oh, okay. The colorful ones are actually really good. I've seen someone do a whole base without putting foundation on, just using color correcting. Like these. Okay, let me show you the texture this one has, because they're not any thicker than this. They're like your gel. This is like your gel moisturizer type of thing. Wolfgang, thank you.
Thanks for all the support, guys. I really appreciate it. Cedar also asked, have you ever used colour correcting primers? I have a green one by NYX, but it feels a bit counterproductive to put it all over your face if the redness is patchy.
Yeah, so that's the thing about color correcting. People tend to put it all over the place instead of on the exact area that needs it. See, look, it's like a gel. So these color correctors, the ones that I like for Makeup Forever, are good because they don't add anything to your face. It's like putting like a gel moisturizer,
Okay.
but with a tiny bit of pigment in it. So it will correct it without actually looking like you've put anything on your face, because it's almost as if you just put moisturizer.
So my problem was with colour correcting.
I have the green color corrector.
That's a Nintendo 3DS box. That's
Okay.
not the actual. I was like, I went for it, really thinking it was this.
Oh.
So I mean, Elise is horrified when I show her this, but anyway, I'm just gonna.
This one
show
stresses
this
me out.
one.
I love it. It's just like, oh, but it's green. The green one just doesn't show. Oh my god, wait, does this green one? Let's see.
Okay, you can't really see. Yeah, look, it's got a really nice M in the middle of it, actually. Elise.
Yeah, it's like,
Nature enough. Thank you so much. But I always feel like with it, when I thought I was using it right, I just made my face green.
yeah, that's the thing. Okay, should I get into that now? Or should I put foundation on one side?
Yeah, go.
So we're just gonna talk a little bit about color theory real quick, because color correcting is just using color theory to get to the point that you want in makeup. To remove what you need, to maybe highlight what you need. That's color correcting. There are different types of correctors on there, so these are all gonna show up green. The one, oh, this one doesn't show up. This one doesn't show green. It is green though. It's like green.
It's very pale. It's like a khaki green, isn't it?
Yeah. So green is like one of the most used color correctors out there because everyone thinks they're really red. Everyone, even I did. I was just like, my face is so red. And now that I've been through makeup school, I just kind of being like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as it could be. So people tend to think that the green color corrector is what you need to use to cover redness. Orange is good for blue. Yellow is good for purple. So I'm just gonna wait for the perfect.
Just come
So if you look at a color wheel, so we're gonna just really quickly do a color theory really quickly. Your main colors, okay, the primary colors are blue, red, and yellow. Okay, we're not just gonna go into cyan and magenta. Let's just say blue, red, and yellow. When you mix primary colors, you get secondary colors. So the green, the orange, and the purple. I really feel like someone who's just like the weather.
The Weather Channel.
So people tend to be like, okay, I'm red, so if I want to correct that, I will use the opposite color, because what we tend to say is that opposite colors cancel out. If you really want to know, like, makeup-wise, when you mix two colors that are opposite on the color wheel, you get skin tone. You get like a shade of brown. Not necessarily your skin tone, but you do get a shade of skin tone. You get brown, which explains why, for those of you who have tried to do eye makeup before with eyeshadows, when you try to blend colors that are too far away on the color wheel, it will become muddy. That's what people talk about when they say, oh, this look is becoming muddy.
They don't blend well together.
They don't blend well together.
The eyeshadow palette's crap.
Usually, it's because that they've just chosen two colors that are so far away from each other on the color wheel that it's not going to blend together anyway.
Because when you mix them, they become brown.
Because when you mix them, the color in the center of this color wheel is brown. So it's just going to make brown once you mix the two together.
Oh gosh, there we go. I got my colour back.
Yeah.
It's because of the background.
Yeah, I was just like, that's
like,
weird.
oh, damn.
So weird. Really different. So if we were to look at this color wheel, so so we've said the center of this is brown, and then let's just say like there's some sort of
Today I learned!
See, I love it because when I had the class on this, I was just like, oh my
Yes.
god!
I can't, since you told me this, I can't, when I watched the YouTube and they're like, it's not blending together well, I'm like...
But it's not, the thing is, the problem is not totally their fault, because like, that's not something that's being taught anywhere on YouTube, so like, how can you learn? It's very difficult to find. Like, there are a few videos, but it's very difficult to find them to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. And most people who do like color theory classes, they don't do it like for makeup, they do it for painting. It's not exactly the same.
They're like
Sort of.
complementary colours
Yeah.
and primary colours.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a little bit more different.
Yeah.
This is why we did the class, guys!
So there's another, so this is the color wheel. If you were to, like, for example, the way I was presented, it was like there was an axis going from the center of the color wheel out. So the further you go out, the darker it is, and the closer you go in, the lighter. So for example, like beneath the red, you would get a pink, and above it, you'd get like a burgundy. So for example, if you were to mix green and red, you would get a brown. Depending on the shade of green and red, depending on the shade of red and green that you mix together, you won't get the same type of brown, because it won't be like the pure green, and it won't be the pure red. So here comes the color correcting portion. No one is pure red. No one's face, no one's cheek is this color. Like, no one's cheek is this color. I would hope so. I would hope so. That would be very, very bright.
Sunburn real bad.
Yeah, sunburn real bad. Like, with sunburn, yes, use green. That will totally work, okay?
Easy.
That's why when people use green color corrector, which is meant to color correct red, it ends up looking sort of ashy, kind of grayish, and sometimes it even gets to the point where it's green. And so if you were to look at someone's redness, it's not actually redness, it's more like a pinkish hue. Like, at most, that's what we get, is usually like a bit of pink. So what I found is a better way to color correct is not to use green, it's to use a color that is inside the green, because green is made up of this color, but that's a bit softer, so it's to use a yellow. When you use a yellow to correct redness, so not redness, but pinkness, especially if you are yellow toned, so we're both like pretty yellow toned, it ends up hiding it much better than the green, which will make it look a bit ashy. that's the first like step of being like, okay, color correcting. We've been taught to do it wrong because we're using green to color correct redness that we don't have on our face anyway. Some people do. Some people have like I still don't remember the term of it. Like when they have like high circulation, like vessels in their cheeks, they like the green color corrector will be very, very useful for them because they're actually much closer to the red than we are.
But this is too extreme for us.
This is too extreme for us. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't buy a green color corrector because you'd be like, well, if it's useless, then why are all the brands creating it? Even the professional brands like Makeup Forever, I mean, this is a palette and like, it's green, so it'd be like, why are you creating this? And that means that they do it because you can use green to correct pink, but we just tend to use too much. So if I were to show you how much I would use to
How do I do purple eyeshadow without looking like I'm sick?
how do I do purple? Using the right shade of purple, I think like a lot of purple would just look like a bruise. So if I were to show you how much green I would use to cover a cheek,
A whole cheek.
like the redness like here.
Right, okay. The redness here, she says.
Okay, is it going to like it? Do you see that?
Much, yeah.
That much.
That. Whereas I was like,
I wouldn't use more than that.
yeah, I was like the whole brush was in
Yeah,
there.
because that's what you see.
Yeah.
So that's what you see also. The thing that it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't bother me, but it's just, I find it a bit sad because people are just like trying it out and then being like, why doesn't it work for me? Is that you often see people on YouTube color correcting and they're just like swiping it
Yeah,
on.
they're like smearing it in and covering.
Which is fine because then they often use a full coverage foundation on top. So like, if it ends up being ashy, it doesn't matter. The foundation is going to cover it. But for every day, if you were to smear this on the way they do it, you would just look green. It just wouldn't work out.
That's what happened to me. I bought a colour correcting palette. Buying this, I bought a colour correcting palette, and I was like, I'm gonna
Buying
fix
this,
all
yeah.
my problems. Yes. And it became green. So
Smearing it, that's my bad.
Protect.
Yeah, it's just like, again, it's like the foundation I say. You use it, like you need a translucent layer of it. And it's just like, just the tiniest amount so that it actually fades out and you can barely see the green. It's just enough so that it corrects the color that's underneath. The other thing that I see with color correcting that wouldn't work if you're not using a full coverage foundation, which we aren't today. It says full coverage, but it's not. Is where you place the color correction. So we're gonna do that with the under.
It says, a little off topic, I am a man and I have a few small tattoos on my face. What is the best method and type of makeup to use to cover them up? On the rare occasion I've had to try a few times, but it didn't go well and you could not cover them up. Isn't that more
Ooh.
like an orange?
Okay, so
peachy
this is like almost SFX work.
Yes.
It's really difficult. I've never done it personally myself. Like I know the theory around it, but I've never done it myself. What you need, first of all, is a full coverage foundation. It's not gonna cover up the tattoo by itself. And then it's what we talked about is color correcting. So in the black that you find in the ink for that tattoo, there is quite a lot of blue.
Yes.
Which is why people tend to color correct on the tattoo first with either orange or even with red if it's like really dark.
Yes.
Because your skin has a lot of... I mean, you have... An SFX teacher always told us, she would keep on yelling at us like, don't forget that there's blood circulating underneath your skin.
Stop
There's
red.
red.
The circulation.
Yeah, there's red. There's red underneath your skin. So she would put red on top of tattoos to be like, we want to emulate that. We want to emulate the fact that there's like blood underneath. I mean, you're a human being. There's blood circulating in you, and that's what you need. And then you would put full coverage foundation on top.
Yeah. So when I worked with Krylon, they covered up my tattoo, and it was a bit of a job for them because they didn't realise I had.
Oh, they
such a
weren't
lot.
prepared.
They didn't know.
Oh.
So my tattoo is just here and it extends all the way down there. So what they did was they did have a special, they could go a little bit more ham because it's not on my face, but they did take a deep kind of peach colour, red, and then they laid that on over the top, and then they foundation matched my skin tone.
Yeah.
And they had powdered it with
That's an important step too.
to powder it, yeah. But you have to be very careful because when you then lay the foundation on top of all the powder and everything, you have to be very gentle because you can lift everything you've just done.
See, so that would be like when I would use this brush
Yeah.
or a stippling brush, even better. You just tap instead of swiping. If you swipe, then you just remove everything that you've done before.
Yeah, so you have to be very, very gentle because you'll just lift everything that you've done, and that's what happened initially.
Yeah.
They lifted it by
Oh,
accident,
no.
and they had to
That's
take it off and start
so
again.
frustrating.
And they didn't have one of their specific tattoo covering products because they just didn't know, and they didn't ask, so I was just like, everything's fine. And so in the end, they definitely managed to do it. It was completely fine. But it was, they didn't have they wanted a powder in a specific colour. So I think it's more so understanding the colours for your skin tone.
Yeah.
And the colour correcting. The colour correcting is really important. But yeah, the full coverage foundation will help. But it's definitely, you have to be very, very gentle with it because you've worked to cover it all up. You've done the colour correcting correctly. You can ruin it last minute by just being too harsh. And you just lift everything back up again. So just be quite careful with that. But it's definitely, like, people cover up tattoos all the time to an unbelievable standard. It's just, I'd say it's practice.
I think it's practice, and I think like you have to be really careful when you color correct. Again, people tend to just swipe it like all over the thing, whereas you just really need to place it on the tattoo where the ink is. Because if you place that really deep red on the skin, then you're just making your skin deep red. You're not color correcting anything. You're just adding red to your skin tone. So you really need to be careful.
Like, paint over.
Yeah, just paint over like the tattoo if you can.
That's okay. More than happy to answer
Yeah, no
any
problem.
questions.
It's not an easy thing.
No, it's,
I will tell you that.
Very
it's like,
hard.
Yeah, people who can do that properly, they have like a lot of success in the film industry because that is a very like difficult feat to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you want it to look natural because you're putting like a lot of product. You're putting color correcting, you're putting powder, and then you're putting full coverage foundation on top of that. That's a lot of stuff to put on your skin. So for it to look like natural.
But if they're only small tattoos, then you're definitely going to find it easier. I think it is just practice and being very, very gentle with your products as well.